Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Ohio Association of College Admission Counselor College Exploration Program online. We are very happy to have you here with us today to listen to Vanessa from Purdue University. And you will be able to ask Vanessa questions. She is planning to do 30 to 35 minutes of presentation, and then she will answer questions that you submit towards the end of the session. And you just simply hit the Q&A button to type your questions for Vanessa. Do remember that you don't have a way, your camera and microphone are off, so all you're going to see is Vanessa's presentation. Remember though that if you tend to want to revisit something or you forgot something that she said, because 45 minutes is a long period of time and we know that you're tired of being online for everything, a recording will be available so that you can share it with your friends, family, etc., and revisit it yourself. You literally just go to www.oacac.org, and you also visit that site to sign up for more sessions about your journey to college in this next year. So I'm going to hand everything over to Vanessa, and you enjoy. Boiler up.
Awesome. Thank you, Robin. Now let me go ahead and share my screen here to start our presentation. Alrighty, wonderful. So as we mentioned before, my name is Vanessa Gibson. I'm one of the assistant directors in the Office of Admissions at Purdue University. And I'm so happy to be here with you today, and thank you for joining me for this presentation for Purdue University. So as it was mentioned before, we are going to cover a variety of different topics for about 30 to 35 minutes and then open it up for some Q&A at the end. And also my colleagues who have joined me will also be answering your questions as we go along if you put them in the chat. So just to get started here, looking at Purdue, we do have a little bit over 44,000 total students, with about 33,000 of those students being undergraduate. And so I know that that number seems huge to a lot of you, right? But what we like to say is that we are a big school with a small school feel, because our average class size is 31, and we do have a student to faculty ratio of around 13:1, which is comparable to other smaller institutions. In terms of where our students are coming from, about half of our students are coming from the state of Indiana. Roughly 34% are coming from other parts of the United States, and 14% are coming from other countries around the world. So looking at where we are located, we are surrounded here by a variety of larger cities like Chicago and Cincinnati and Louisville that aren't too far away from our campus. But it's really nice because the West Lafayette community is this small college town with this very large college right in the middle of it. We are located about an hour north from Indianapolis and 2 hours south of Chicago. And so when you are, when you are looking at major cities that you can go to go away for a weekend, if you would like to, you'll see that we do have those available. Looking at how far away we are from larger cities in Ohio, we're about 5 hours away from Cleveland, roughly about 4 hours away from Columbus, and 3 hours away from Cincinnati. So if you do want to make your way back home, the drive is not too bad at all. And so when you are on campus, as you see in this picture here, we have the West Lafayette area where campus is, and then we also have the Lafayette community, which is just across the river, across our walking bridge. So looking into our academics, so we do have over 2,000 different research opportunities that students can choose from. As a freshman, you can even get started right away in your research, but it isn't necessarily required that you have to do so, depending on your different programs. And so another area that does incorporate research is within the Honors College. And so the Honors College at Purdue allows you to take that next step within your academic career. So you'll be able to take honors level classes. You will be able to live in the Honors College residence hall for a minimum of 1 year. It's very interdisciplinary, so you'll be engaging with students from all over the university. And there also are experiences that are unique to the Honors College, like study abroad experiences, career fairs, etc. So I'll talk a little bit more about dates and deadlines at the end of this presentation, but if you are interested in the Honors College, what will happen is you'll need to apply early action to Purdue by our November 1st deadline. And then you'll be able to check off a box that says, I'm interested in the Honors College. And then an essay will auto-populate that asks you, why are you interested in the Honors College? And you'll go from there. Another area that we like to highlight is our Certificate in Entrepreneurship and Innovation program. This is a program, if you're someone who's interested in entrepreneurship, or maybe you are someone who has your own business, this is where you will be able to take 15 credits worth of entrepreneurship classes and be able to integrate that within your degree plan for a certificate program. And so you don't have to be a part of the business school, and you don't have to be a business major to be a part of this program, because students from all over the university are taking advantage of this no matter the academic discipline. And also within the entrepreneurship program, you are able to also attend different conferences and workshops on behalf of this area. And so we do have a couple of areas within liberal arts that allow you to also incorporate different aspects of academic areas outside of the College of Liberal Arts through Cornerstone, as well as our Degree Plus. And so within these different areas, you're able to have a liberal arts curriculum while saying, okay, if I'm interested in STEM, how can I tie this into my degree plan? And through these different areas, you are able to tie in STEM-based areas into your overall liberal arts curriculum. And so looking ahead at our cultural opportunities that you have on campus, we do have 5 different cultural centers that students can choose from. Just to go through these, we have our LGBTQ Center, our Latino Cultural Center, our Black Cultural Center, our Native American Educational Cultural Center, and our Asian and Asian American Resource Cultural Center. So these cultural centers will do a variety of different events separately as well as together for the campus community. They also they serve as safe spaces for our students. These are places that you can go just to enjoy different cultures on our campus, and a lot of them also have broad opportunities that are unique to each center. Me personally, I love food and I love when it's free, and they all have free food at our cultural center. So you'll usually catch me in the Latino Cultural Center every Wednesday at noon, getting free food over there. And as you see, I have no Latin background, so that just shows you the many ways that you can get involved and integrated into these cultural centers by being part of any different kind of background. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit more about success on our campus. So we do have our Academic Success Center. This is where you will go if you need any assistance outside of the classroom with your homework. This is where you can go to learn a little bit more about study skills. Tutoring is available through the Academic Success Center. There are computer labs. Sometimes your professors will also have their study tables within the Academic Success Center as well. And so in addition just to academic success on our campus, I'm not sure how many of you guys have maybe heard of the Purdue OWL online writing lab that we have. That's a source that students all over the country and world will utilize to learn a little bit more about things like APA format or MLA format. But not only is it a website, but it is also a physical building that we have on campus. So you can go into this building and bring any of your writing assignments and have them assessed or have extra help and assistance from our staff that are over in that facility. Now taking a different turn and a different look at career opportunities. So we do have our Center for Career Opportunities and the different services that are available there. So this is where you will go for internships and as well as co-ops. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about potentially working for an organization in the future, they also assist you with different workshops like resume building and interview skills. And then also this is where our pre-professional advising is held too. So if you are looking at majors like pre-law, pre-medicine, pre-dentistry, this is where you will go to also have that advising as well. And so now looking on campus, so we are very lucky to have 17 different residence halls that students can choose from. And what is unique for us that is that you don't typically see across the Big Ten is that as a freshman, you don't have to live on campus if you don't want to. But as you can see here, about 95% of freshmen do choose to live on campus for that experience. And there are also learning communities that are available to students. And these learning communities are communities of about 30 to 40 students with similar interests, similar classes. You'll be doing activities together, living in the same area within your dorm or your residence hall. And so you'll be able to just have a community in place once you get onto campus. Now, you don't have to be a part of a learning community right away. You can absolutely join a learning community at any point in time in your sophomore, junior, or senior year if you would like to do so. But it is an opportunity that you do have coming onto campus as a student. And so my favorite part, of course, talking about food. So we do have award-winning campus dining, and we have a bunch of different options that you can choose from. So on campus, we do have 5 different dining courts where you swipe in, and it is all you can eat, buffet style. All of our dining courts have a variety of different options that will kind of switch in and out depending on the day. So there's vegan and vegetarian friendly options. If you are someone who is you may have like a gluten allergy or food allergies, you can always talk to our staff inside of these dining courts and ask them for assistance to have another food option available. Our on-the-go options allow you to just kind of grab a quick bite to eat on your way out of the door and are located inside of some of our different dining courts. And then we do have over 30 on-campus restaurants that you can choose from. And so with these on-campus restaurants, you'll be able to also utilize your meal plan. A lot of these restaurants are located inside of our academic buildings as well. And so it's really nice because if you can't make it to a dining court, you can, probably most likely walk downstairs in your academic building, swipe in to one of the different restaurants that we have, and then grab a quick bite to eat and then head on your way to your next class. So it is really helpful that we do have these restaurants located all over our campus in addition to dining court options and on-the-go options and mini marts. So that way you're able to grab food wherever you are and no matter how much time you have as well. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about involvement. And so we do have almost 1,000 student organizations on our campus. And if there's a student organization that you may want to start while you're there, you are absolutely welcome to do so. These pictures do highlight just a variety of our different student organizations on campus. In that upper left corner there where you see the world's largest drum, we do have the world's largest drum here at Purdue University as a part of our Purdue bands and orchestras. And so just to speak a little bit more to the music opportunities that we have, we don't necessarily have a school of music, but we do have opportunities to get involved through bands and orchestras, through our Purdue musical organizations, and even participation in some of these organizations can actually allow you to get course credit. And so that's just another way that you can get involved on campus. You're probably looking over at that train like, what does that mean? What organization is that? And so what you see here is our Boilermaker Special, which is our train that we have on campus that actually can go up to 75 miles an hour on the highway and give students rides all over campus. And this is actually taken care of by the Reamer Club. And so the Reamer Club is a group of students who preserve the history and traditions of the university, and they also get to, as I mentioned before, take care of our lovely train that you see here. And so in addition to ways that you can get involved, we do have our recreational and wellness facility that we like to fondly call our Cowreck. And so in the Cowreck, you are able to get connected with fitness and wellness classes, strength and conditioning, cardio training. There are also healthy cooking demos. So if you are freaked out about the freshman 15, you have a way to learn a little bit more about healthy cooking options. And I really enjoy the Cowreck because right when you walk in, there is this massive rock climbing wall that goes across the, is as tall as the 5 different floors that we have in the facility. And so if you're interested in rock climbing, it's a really cool space that we have. But on each of these different levels, it's there are so many different machines and different ways that you can work out and be healthy. And there's also staff that are there that are available to help you and assist you with any of the machines that you may need help with. And so it's a beautiful facility. And if you are on campus, I always recommend stopping by our Cowreck just to see what it has to offer. But within the Cowreck, we also have over 30 club and intramural sports that you are able to choose from. So if you are interested in playing at the club level, we do absolutely have that as an option for you. And so we are a part of the NCAA Division I Big Ten Athletics. So if you are interested in playing at the varsity level here at Purdue, you absolutely can do so. You can get in touch with our coaches and learn more about what it means to be a student athlete at Purdue. And if you're more like me and you are more interested in watching games that we have on campus, we do like to tell students about something called a boarding pass. And this boarding pass actually gives you access to the majority of our athletic events. You go into a lottery for men's basketball and women's basketball for those tickets, because those are our biggest events that we have on campus. But it's nice because it actually saves you some money, because as a student, your tickets are not free. And so we recommend this boarding pass. It is $99, and it does allow our students to be able to have access to all of these different athletic events of their choosing. And so that's just a little bit about our athletics that we do have on our campus. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the admissions process. So what we are looking for a complete application, as well as the ways that we will evaluate your application. So on your screen right now, what you see is a complete application to Purdue University. So first and foremost, we are using the common application. And on the common application, you will be asked 2 Purdue-specific questions. Why Purdue and why the major of your choice? I promise you these are not long essay questions, just a couple of sentences here or there about why Purdue and why your major. We are a university that does not do interviews like some of your other schools that you're applying to might. So through your application, this is going to be the best way that we can learn about who you are as a student and why you want to come to this university. Next, self-reported grades and test scores. So with self-reported grades, you'll be reporting the grades that you have received in your different courses from your freshman year through your junior year and the classes that you intend to take or are currently taking in your senior year. So we are not going to ask you for any final official transcripts until after you have been admitted to the university and accept your offer of admission. But if you do decide to send us a transcript, or if your counselors are automatically going to send us a transcript with all of your grades, that's okay. We will also accept that. And then test scores. So right now on campus, we are test flexible, meaning that we are still strongly encouraging that you submit your test scores to us, the ACT or SAT or both. But if you did not have the opportunity to take the ACT or SAT because maybe the test wasn't available, the testing center was closed, or you wanted to have the chance to improve your score, if you don't provide scores to us, then we will still move forward with your application, and it is not going to penalize you within the admissions process. So if you do decide to report your scores, what's going to happen is we will ask you for any scores that you have reported to us. We'll ask for any official scores after you've been admitted and accept your offer of admission. So we do this self-reporting so that we can take the pressure off of your counselors to have to send a bunch of transcripts in different places and allow you to get your application as complete as quickly as you can. And then next, the essay. This is going to be one of the 9 different essay topics that you will have within the common application. So with the essay, there's even an option to say, or to write about whatever you would like to write about. And so we just really want you to talk about, your experiences, talk about who you are in this essay. There's not one specific essay topic that we want you to write about across those 9 different topics. My helpful hints always are to have as many people proofread your essay as possible and have different eyes on your essay just looking over it. Because the reality is you'll probably be sending off the same essay to multiple different colleges. And I can't tell you how awkward it is when I was reading an application and the last line of it ended with, "I'm so excited to be an Ohio State Buckeye." And we knew that may have gone to the wrong location. And so that's why I always say just proofread your essays, make sure that you are sending them to the correct locations, because we do read through every part of your essay. And then there is the $60 application fee, or the waiver if you qualify for that. Now, when it comes to the application, you will be able to choose 2 different major options. So at Purdue, we do have 11 different academic colleges and schools and over 200 majors that you can choose from. The way we will review this is that we will review your first choice major option first, and if we can't place you in there, then we're going to review you second for your second choice major. You don't have to put a second choice major, But if you do, then it just increases your chances overall of admission to the university because we are reviewing you for 2 different academic areas. And so these are just images here of our different academic colleges and schools that we have, and I'm going to touch on just a few of them in the interest of time. So first, I want to touch on the Exploratory Studies program. And Exploratory Studies allows students to have 1 to 4 semesters of taking any kinds of classes that really interest them. You'll be working with an Exploratory Studies advisor to help kind of hone in on what your interests are at the university. And I will say that the majority of students who go into Exploratory Studies leave the program and go into one of our different academic areas after that first semester, and they also don't change their major once they've left the program because they've had that opportunity to explore their options and know what they want to do. And that's important because across the country, students are changing their major about 2 or 3 times before they graduate. So it's nice that we have a program that allows you to save that time and save that extra money and be able to explore your options in a very thorough way. The other area that I want to highlight is the College of Engineering. And so, as I mentioned before, you do have over 200 majors you can choose from, 2 that you can put on the application because it is a direct admit into the major of your choice. And with engineering, it's a little bit different because you'll be directly admitted into the first-year engineering program at Purdue under the College of Engineering, instead of maybe going right away into mechanical or civil or electrical engineering. And so first-year engineering gives you a year-long course where you are able to learn about the foundations of engineering and what engineering has to offer at Purdue. And then also you'll be doing a chem and physics courses, as well as Calculus 1 and Calc 2, and then written communication coursework, or kind of like English courses that you'll be taking as well. Then in your second year, you will then move into your specific engineering discipline. So that's when you'll move into the mechanical or civil or electrical engineering areas and so on. And then I want to highlight the College of Education as well, because the College of Education is unique because it umbrellas over 6 different academic colleges. So if you're someone who is looking to be a teacher in K through 12, but you want to be specifically a science teacher, then you're able to incorporate those specific areas within to your overall degree plan. And so when it comes to application evaluation, so we have a holistic review process at Purdue. And what that means is that we don't have a specific ACT, SAT, or GPA requirement for admission because we are looking at a variety of different factors. So first, starting with our minimum high school coursework requirements, this is going to be 4 years of math, 4 years of English, 3 years of a lab science, 3 years of a social science, and 2 years of a foreign language. Now, if you are someone doing dual credit, or in Ohio, I believe it's called that CCP credit, 1 semester of that dual credit counts for 2 semesters of high school coursework. So if you're someone taking, those like a Spanish class at Ohio State, and it is for only 1 semester, that's going to count for 2 semesters of your Spanish coursework for high school. We're also going to be looking at your grades, the strength of your curriculum. So when I say strength of your curriculum, what that means, it's not necessarily that you have to take every single AP class that you can possibly take, but what that means is that we want to see that you're challenging yourself to the best of your ability. So if you're looking at maybe doing AP English or looking at doing an honors English class, if you feel more comfortable taking honors English, then that's what we would recommend that you do, because we'd rather see you getting an A in that honors class than maybe coming in with a C or a D in AP. And so we want you just to be challenging yourself to the best of your ability. Relevant coursework, what this means is that if you're interested in STEM areas at Purdue, like engineering, then we're going to look a lot more at your math and science coursework, because that's the bulk of what you'll be taking in your degree plan, and we want to make sure that you're going to be as prepared as possible. Same thing goes if you're looking at something like political science or English. We're going to be looking at your reading and writing a lot more, just to make sure that you are prepared for those courses in your time at Purdue. Academic trends, making sure that you maintain a positive academic trend all the way through your senior year. We understand that, if you're in your freshman year, you didn't have the greatest freshman year, but you did so much better past that point. That's a positive trend. That's what we're looking for. And then just to mention before, ACT or SAT scores, or both if you would like to send them to us, are also taken into consideration. Extracurricular activities, so we're looking at your involvement. behind the essay portion, there's an additional information section that allows you to talk a little bit more about anything that you would like to share with us. So if you're someone who maybe you moved in your freshman year and it caused a dip in your grades, or you had a really cool summer camp opportunity that you didn't feel like fit in the extracurriculars and it didn't really fit in the essay, that's somewhere else that you can put that information. There is also, we also look at your personal background and experiences, so we take all of that into consideration, as well as recommendations. So letters of recommendation are not required, but they are strongly encouraged. So if you would like to send us 1 to 2, that is completely fine. And then when it comes to your academic major, as well as the time of year that you apply, the bulk of our applications do come in before our early action deadline of November 1st. So I always just tell all students, no matter what you are applying into, whether it is a more competitive major or not, you should just apply early to Purdue University. There are some majors that do have a priority deadline of November 1st, and these majors include veterinary nursing, the nursing program, computer science, professional flight, and I usually just throw in there engineering, just in general, just because it is a little bit more competitive. And so as I was talking about these different dates and deadlines here, August 1st, our application goes live. So right now, if you are a senior, you can apply to Purdue University. October 1st is when the FAFSA goes live. November 1st is this early action application deadline you've been hearing all about. So for us, if you apply by November 1st, you will be hearing about your admissions decision on January 15th. And I want to be clear that early action is not binding. So you may have heard about early decision at some of those other schools that you may be applying to. And that is binding, meaning that if you apply to that school, then you're admitted, you have to go to that school. For us, early action just means that you're going to hear early about your admissions decision. And if you are admitted, you don't have to necessarily come to Purdue, but you're also going to be automatically considered for merit-based scholarships, as well as have that consideration for the Honors College if you choose to do so. So then we also have our January 15th deadline for regular decision. And as I mentioned before, the early action release date as well. So if you are applying regular decision, you're not necessarily going to hear about your admissions, you're going to hear about your admissions decision on a rolling basis up until the end of March, and you won't necessarily be considered for merit scholarships or have that consideration for the Honors College. But the nice thing about the Honors College is that if you don't apply as an incoming freshman, then you can also apply to be in the Honors College as a sophomore, a junior, or a senior. March 1st is going to be that priority FAFSA deadline, because in March you do receive your financial aid award. May 1st is going to be that deadline to accept or decline your admissions offer, as well as your Honors College offer. And then May 5th will be your housing contract deadline, as well as your learning communities deadline. And so now looking at money, so we are excited to be in our 9th consecutive year of frozen tuition. This means that since 2012, tuition has not changed at Purdue University. And so Ohio students, you are considered non-resident at Purdue. And so that middle section there where you see that breakdown of tuition and fees and room and board is what you can expect for that cost for the year at Purdue. And so when it comes to scholarships and financial aid, we do have an online financial aid estimator where you can put in your family's information and see a little bit more of an accurate depiction of kind of the aid that you'll be receiving from the university. And so just as a reminder, our merit scholarships are going to you be automatically considered for those if you apply by November 1st, but to be transparent, less than 10% of students who apply early action to Purdue receive merit-based scholarships. So not only should you apply by November 1st, but you should look at some of our supplemental scholarship opportunities. And so the supplemental scholarships have a deadline of December 15th, as well as a FAFSA deadline of December 15th. And these scholarships are departmentally specific. And so the nice thing is that you are able to apply for these scholarships over and over again as a sophomore, junior, and senior. But as I mentioned before, they are specific to certain academic colleges. And so you'll be able to find the list of those different academic colleges on the financial aid website. Just to reiterate again, we do have a priority deadline for the FAFSA of March 1st, because in March you do receive your financial aid package. And then just lastly, just in terms of keeping in touch with us. So we are open from 8 to 5 in the Office of Admissions. And so if you'd like to call into our office, a counselor will be happy to talk with you. Or if you'd like to email us, then we will get back to you in about 24 hours from the time that you email us. And then in terms of our mailing list, you can join our mailing list to request more information. And then we also have a variety of different virtual experiences that are available for our students. And so you are able to also go online and look at those virtual events. And so that is all that I have for you today. And I know Sarah's going to help me out here with any questions that we may have. And so I will just give the rest of this time for questions. Oh, Sarah, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. If you could maybe talk about kind of the competitiveness between some of our programs and the first choice, second choice major, what might be good second choice majors, and how some of our programs are a little bit more competitive than others.
Yeah. So looking at the just kind of competitiveness overall, I would say our College of Science and our College of Engineering are kind of at the upper ends of that competitiveness. The College of Engineering is a very competitive area. The computer science program within the College of Science is the most competitive major that we do have. And so those fall in the upper ranges of our average on our campus. And so that average is kind of going to look at as a 25 to a 31 ACT. GPA averages for our university are going to be between a 3.5 and a 4.0, and the SAT kind of starting around like a 1050, 1100, going to a 1350. And so that's just the averages of the student body. So you're going to see that those more competitive areas are going to fall on the upper ends of those scores. And so if you're looking to maybe apply into a more competitive area, and you're interested in maybe two really competitive areas, I also recommend just putting the more competitive one first, and then maybe putting a lesser competitive area. So these kind of middle range, and I forgot to talk about the rest of them, sorry, but the middle ranges of competitiveness kind of for us are going to be like Health and Human Sciences, the Business School, the Cowreck School of Management, as well as kind of like the Polytechnic. And then in the like lesser competitive areas, they're also going to be Exploratory Studies, College of Education. So if you're looking to maybe say, okay, well, I'm interested in computer science, but I'm also interested in like political science, then I would recommend putting your most competitive area first, and then second choice having your lesser competitive area. Exploratory studies is always good as a second option to put down because it's an easier one to transfer out of into different academic areas. Now, this is going to depend on space and availability and just kind of availability of all of competitive areas. So if you are looking to go from exploratory studies into something like the College of Engineering, it could be a little bit more difficult than going from exploratory studies into an area in Health and Human Sciences. And so those priority deadline ones that I had mentioned before, like nursing and vet nursing and professional flight, are competitive really also based on space and availability because they are a little bit smaller programs. And so if you're looking at those and you're kind of deciding between, you know, which ones you want to be a part of, I do recommend that, like I mentioned before, putting a more competitive major first and then putting that lesser competitive one second. And looking at, if you want to look ahead at how you're able to transfer to a different academic area from like exploratory studies or from just in general another academic college at Purdue, you can always go onto our website. I just usually type into Google CODO, which stands for Change of Degree Objective Purdue, and it takes you to the page that shows you the requirements for changing your major into a different academic area. So it's easy to change your major while you're within your college. So if you're going from one major to another within your academic college, it's a little bit easier than going from a lesser competitive area to a more competitive area outside of a different academic college.
Awesome, thank you. We actually don't have any other questions that have come into the chat, so
okay.
another minute or so to see, but right now we've answered all of them. So.
Wonderful. If there's anything you want to add, Sarah, at all to any of that?
I don't know if you want to talk about, you're on campus more than I am, so maybe talk about some of the fun traditions that occur under normal circumstances on campus.
Yeah, I'm trying to think too, just with like, I've been away from campus sometimes so long this summer. So I know I talked about, you know, how we have the world's largest drum, and I believe it's 6 feet tall, I think. I hope I got that right. 6 feet tall. And then I know that there's one of my favorite traditions that happens is watching students do the fountain run. That's kind of fun, where students we have multiple different fountains on campus. We have the engineering fountain and Memorial Mall fountain, all these different fountains, and students will actually run through the different fountains. And I don't know if you get a prize at the end, but I do know that that's another fun tradition to do. There's a lot of fun chants that will go on too at our sporting events. I know in normal circumstances, but that was something that I really enjoyed doing, was going to our athletic events and just seeing everybody, you know, coming together from the Lafayette community, the West Lafayette community, just kind of all over. My favorite memory was actually going to Mackey Arena, and it was my first game I'd ever watched. It was, I think we were playing Rutgers, and I had gone in there. I found my seat. I had never been to a Purdue basketball game before, and so then all of the lights, they just go out, and I was nervous. I was like, what's going to happen? And then you just see that there is this light show that is happening off of everyone's screen, because everyone's holding up their phones in the air. And apparently you can download an app where you say what seat that you're sitting in, and then at the certain point, everyone holds up their phones, they turn out the lights, and they're able to do a light show off of your phone depending on where you're sitting. There are videos of it. It is super cool. And that was probably the coolest thing that I had ever seen. I felt so left out because I was just kind of standing there like, wow, this is amazing. But that was just another fun tradition and just fun way to be just kind of connected through campus, definitely through our athletic events as well. But there is one other thing I wanted to touch on, just thinking about academics in relation to the CCP credits that come from Ohio. If you are interested to see how those credits do transfer over, on our website, we do have under the, I believe, the Apply tab, where you're able to look at transferring credit. So I usually utilize the Transfer Credit Course Equivalency Guide, and that's where you can put in your exact school and see how those exact courses are going to transfer over to Purdue. So if you are wondering, if you're like, okay, well, I take classes at, you know, the University of Cincinnati, or I take classes with Columbus or Cleveland State or Columbus State, and you're wondering how they're going to transfer over, that's the source that you can use on our website to see how those will transfer over to the university. So if you're looking and you see a bunch of X's that fall behind a course code, that means it's going to come over as undistributed credit toward graduation, meaning that if you have electives that you need to take care of, or elective credit as a part of your overall credits that you need for graduation, it just kind of falls into that area. But if you do see an exact Purdue course code following behind the class that you put in from your university you're taking your classes with, then that's the exact Purdue class that you're going to have it transfer over as. So one way that you can look at what your degree plan is going to entail is by going to the exact major page on our majors page of our website and looking at the plan of study that's usually underneath the video that's on the major page. And that will show you, if you scroll down about midway through the page, it will show you what the different courses you'll be taking across all 4 years in your degree plan.
I'll add another fun tradition is the sledding on Slater Hill.
Oh, yeah.
When it does snow in Indiana at Purdue, students will find anything, garbage can lids, you know, whatever it might be, binders to go sledding down a hill. I know sometimes they do concerts and different large groups events there as well in warmer months. And new this fall with the new screen at the football stadium.
Oh, yeah.
He's there. So kind of reimagining what a football stadium can be used for this fall. So there's always lots of fun events going on around campus.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And season-wise, for Ohio students, the seasons are very similar. So you can expect to experience all of the seasons. And the weather typically reflects Ohio weather. I know that in Ohio, we always say, wait 5 minutes and the weather will change. And it's kind of like that in Indiana too, sometimes, depending on the year. So you guys can expect similar seasons that way. But I am excited about the movies that they're going to be showing on the screen on the field. That's going to be a really cool experience.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Is when I'm talking to them. If it is snowing or raining, or if you don't feel like going outside, if it's a beautiful day, we have 7 miles of underground tunnels on campus. So that's a fun way to kind of get to where you need to be too. If you don't feel like seeing the sun on your face, you can go underground for a little bit.
Oh yeah, the tunnels are really nice. You can pop up in a classroom and then go down and then pop up in another academic building or the garage. It's super nice.
Yeah, and there's lots of good Purdue history in a lot of the tunnels, like all of the murals that have been painted on them and some of the different paraphernalia that's down there. So it's a good spot to check out on campus too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we are all set with questions on our end.
All righty. Well, again, thank you all for joining us today. Once again, my name is Vanessa Gibson. I was joined today by my colleague Sarah Zoll, as well as Barbara Bauer, who is also helping in the chat box as well. If I am the representative for all of Ohio in West Virginia, so if you do go onto the Purdue page and you look for Find a Counselor, when you click on Ohio, my face will pop up. So that way you'll be able to connect with me. And as I said, we try to get back to you in about 24 hours when you do send us emails. My email is also gibsonv@purdue.edu. And many of your counselors will also probably have my emails as well. And, but yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We know that you guys are on probably Zoom and Microsoft Teams and all these different things a lot. And so thank you for just taking the time out of your day to join us for this presentation. If you do have any questions or if you want to look at any virtual tours that are available, we do have those available on our website as well. Virtual daily visits. So if you want to hear a little bit more about Purdue in a kind of similar format as you did today, that is an option. And if you do want to, if you are coming onto campus, if you decided that you want to come onto campus, you can do a self-guided tour that we do have available on our website. That is available for your use too. So you're able to just kind of walk around and be able to see the campus for yourself. But once again, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.
So students and Vanessa, Sarah, and Barb, thank you so much for presenting about Purdue University. I'd like everyone to know that as soon as you close this window, there will be a quick survey, and the survey is literally just 4 questions. We would just really appreciate your feedback. We know that everyone is pretty tired of being online and interacting this way, but we knew that this was a safe way to deliver a lot of information to you where you might be interested. So we also know that you would like, if you would like to sign up for more sessions, you certainly may do so. I know that we'll also be doing another fair coming up in about a month, I believe, the end of October into November. We're planning to do another college exploration session, and that will be another period of time where there will be even more sessions. And don't forget, if you missed a school or if you can't remember everything that Vanessa shared with you today, this session was recorded and it will always be available at www.oacac.org. On behalf of the Ohio Association of College Admission Counselors, we thank you very much for participating tonight. Thanks, Purdue. Good night.
All right, thank you. Boiler up.
Boiler up.